I wanted to talk a little bit today about the mystery of building wealth, how to get wealthy. Um, I recently listened to The Algebra of Wealth. The author Scott Galloway proposes that the math of becoming wealthy is tied to four key factors and ultimate strategies that we all participate in. And I think we all look to successful people around us, those who seem to be enjoying wealth. How did they do it? What are the answers? And so does Galloway. In fact, he points out to the same people that we look to, Warren Buffett, who we all know began his investment career early in his career, buying his first stocks as a teenager. But he also points out to a man, Ronald Read, not as well known, but he was a man who worked as a janitor and a gas station attendant, but managed through his frugal lifestyle to amount an $8 million estate. He built net worth of $8 million that he ultimately gave to his local library and in hospital. And so what does Galloway propose is their secret? Well, he states that both Buffett and Read had an understanding that economic security comes from understanding capitalism. Really? Capitalism? Capitalism only seems to benefit the wealthy, right? But not to Galloway, and not to Buffett, and not to Read. He says that both Buffett and Read understood how the capitalist system offered benefits to them, and they took advantage of them. Benefits through consistent and prudent financial participation in capital assets. In other words, they learned how to save, and they learned how to invest. So Galloway points to four factors that building wealth requires, but I'm only going to focus in on two today. Economic security, or what I call financial independence, go to hell flexibility, if you will, is when your passive income exceeds your expenses. It's that simple. And it's the point where you gain control of your life and you can plan without financial stress. But it takes time and it takes consistent behavior. Because what you need to do is to build an asset base, savings accounts, investment accounts that are 25 times what your expenses are today. It's the old 4% rule. And it's a simple two-step process. First, you have to earn more than your expenses so that you can save and invest wisely. No mystery. And in a future discussion, we'll talk about how you can do that. If you're finding it difficult to save, we'll talk about how to establish a mindset that helps you invest, helps you save, because what you're doing is you're spending with intention. Your money is going out to those things that are only your priorities. And we'll talk about the 9 things that you're probably spending money on that you shouldn't. But for today, let's just assume that you are earning more than your expenses. How can you maximize your savings then? What saving strategies give you maximum bang for your buck? What is the sequence of savings that can best benefit you? And today we have more savings vehicles than we have ever had available to us. So it can be confusing as to where to save first. And in what sequence, which vehicles should we use and how? But let's agree that in generating wealth, even the smallest of contributions, when done early enough, when done consistently enough, can grow substantial wealth. And that's what I'm going to try to demonstrate to you today. So, where's the best place to save? Where's the first place that your saving dollars should go to optimize your outcome? The first place would be to save in an emergency fund. Make sure that you've got enough to cover 6 months worth of expenses. But then after that, the next best place to save is to become a participant in your employer retirement plan. If you're self-employed, establish your own. And to start that as early as possible. The first day of work, sign up for your 401k, your 403b. Because the value of time and compounding returns will be your advantage. You cannot underestimate how important even the smallest of contributions, $100 per paycheck, once or twice a month, how substantial your wealth can grow to over 10, 20, 30 years. So save it, no matter what the amount is. And continue to increase your savings there and there alone until you reach your employer match. If your employer matches, if you're 3% of your contribution, make sure you save at least 3%, because otherwise you're just leaving money on the table. So save until you reach your employer match. Now, once you've reached that level, the next place that you should save is in a health savings account. And I know that that's a surprise because a lot of people don't use HSAs. They don't use health savings accounts. They're unaware of them or less aware of them. And these are accounts that you can set up to help pay for your expenses, your healthcare expenses, on a tax deductible basis. You put money in, you're able to withdraw to reimburse yourself for your medical expenses. But what most people are unaware of is that once you put that money in the account and reach age 65, it turns into a retirement account like any other retirement account. You can withdraw for expenses other than health expenses. Now, if they're other than health expenses, you'll pay taxes on the earnings like you would on any IRA. But the probability is that you're going to pay for your health expenses using your HSA in retirement on a pre-tax basis, and that's the advantage. The contributions are tax deductible, the earnings are tax deferred, and if you pay for your healthcare expenses, they will come out tax-free. The only vehicle that does this, tax deductible, tax deferred, withdrawals tax-free. That's the magic. And it's highly likely that you will be paying for your healthcare expenses there, because as Fidelity told us in their most recent review, most of us will spend up to $130,000 of our retirement savings on healthcare expenses. So that's why the HSA is the next best place to save after you've maximized your employer retirement account up to their match. Now, where's the third best place to save? And this may seem a little counterintuitive because most people maximize their employer contributions because those are the simplest contributions to make. They're the ones that come right out of your paycheck and you don't have to think about it. The easiest way to pay yourself first. But ideally, you might give some consideration to opening up an individual IRA account. And whether you open up a regular IRA or whether you open up a Roth is completely dependent upon your tax bracket. But there's some advantages to using regular IRAs. And that is, first, you have a broader array of investment options. You're typically limited to just 5 to 10 investment options in your employer retirement plan. And these allow you to invest in options that might not be available to you, asset classes that you don't have, real estate that you may want to invest in, other commodities that you might want to have, crypto if you like, and that's not available in your retirement plan. So you have a broader array of investment options that might allow you to further diversify beyond what your retirement plan allows you. You also have some flexibility. The IRA provides more flexibility in terms of your account management. So you can choose your own financial institution. You have more control over your investments. You have more control over the fees that you pay. So there's more flexibility with an individual IRA. And you also have no employer dependency. If you, unlike the 401k, which is tied to your employer, if you move, it moves with, it moves with you. It doesn't have to move. It stays stagnant. So that this means you can continue to contribute to your IRA without, regardless of your employment status. You also do have the potential for lower fees. Some 401k fees are higher than low-cost brokerage accounts. And you also do have the Roth option. Quite often, employer retirement plans don't often offer Roth IRAs. And for those people where the Roth IRA makes some sense, given their tax bracket, again, the beauty of the Roth is that the earnings accrue on a tax-deferred basis, but the withdrawals are tax-free. So if you're in a 24% tax bracket where a Roth makes some sense, but your employer doesn't offer it, then using an individual IRA will allow you to take advantage of a Roth if your income allows it. There are some income restrictions, but if you fall outside of those income restrictions, you can use a Roth IRA, and your employer may not, if your employer doesn't offer it. Now, once you've done this, you may go back and revisit your employer plan. If you still have discretionary savings, you still want to save more, you can go back, unless you have other objectives like saving for college, where a 529 plan might make most sense, or a Coverdale plan. Or if you have discretionary income, you may want to save on an after-tax basis. You may want to build some passive income through the ownership of real estate, which makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of tax advantages to owning assets that are not easy to own in retirement accounts or taxable accounts. So if you have discretionary income, then you might begin to save in an after-tax capacity in either another brokerage account or in assets that you can't own easily in your retirement accounts. So the message is that all of these vehicles allow you to save, and that is the most advantageous sequence of savings: the retirement plan, the HSA, an individual IRA, a Roth IRA, an after-tax account that allows you to save, create some passive income in assets that are more difficult to own in those accounts, like real estate, which is a good investment. And your goals, the important thing is to review on a consistent basis, establish your plan, execute that plan, but then review on a continuous basis as well, because your goals are going to change, or your tax bracket is going to change, or the tax laws are going to change, or the investment marketplace is going to change. So seek advice, get good advice, review continuously, and change your strategies as is necessary. But building wealth, becoming wealthy is that simple. Save, invest, and let the capitalist system build your financial independence.